All right, let's jump into it. Today we're diving deep into ETO manufacturing efficiency. And we've got this article from Mountain Point. They've got some really interesting takes on using AI to, well, make things run a whole lot smoother.
Yeah, and it's not just like small tweaks here and there. They're talking about some pretty big changes to how ETO manufacturing actually works, especially with all the classic challenges everyone's always dealing with.
Right, those challenges that are so familiar, they're practically part of the scenery. I'm talking about those manual processes that seem to drag on forever. Mountain Point says this isn't just about time, it really hits your bottom line, maybe even adding a big chunk to operational costs because of errors and delays.
Yeah, exactly. Those errors that just seem to pop up when you've got people manually like inputting data, moving info between systems that don't talk to each other. That's where those dreaded data silos really become a problem, according to Mountain Point.
So it's not just each department having its own little database, it's that there's no single, like, source of truth, right? Trying to get a clear picture of everything going on is like trying to find your way out of a maze, blindfolded.
And if that wasn't tough enough already, Mountain Point brings up the issue of misaligned teams. Think about it. Sales, engineering, production, different priorities, timelines, sometimes even different information altogether.
Right.
This communication breakdown, it can be a recipe for costly rework, missed deadlines, and in the end, it can really hurt those relationships with customers.
And Mountain Point highlights that a lot of this misalignment actually comes from, you guessed it, fragmented technology. Businesses end up relying on this patchwork of, well, let's be honest, outdated systems, and then things get lost in translation. The question is, how do they suggest we break free from this maze of inefficiency?
Well, they've got a multifaceted approach. They lay out this four-pronged strategy. They start with process optimization.
Okay, so process optimization. What does that actually mean, like, in the real world? Are we talking about completely overhauling the entire manufacturing process from the ground up?
It's not a complete overhaul, no, but they do emphasize really digging deep to find those bottlenecks. It's more like imagine giving your manufacturing process a diagnostic checkup, and a good tune-up. Mountain Point suggests a complete analysis of how things are currently flowing to eliminate unnecessary steps, make things less complex, and get some clear communication channels in place.
Streamlining for peak efficiency. But that's where technology has to come in, right? You can't just, like, wish away outdated systems.
Exactly. And that's where their second prong kicks in technology integration. Specifically, they're really into leveraging CPQ, that's configure, price, quote, and advanced visualization tools to automate those really complicated product configurations and pricing.
Now, for those of us who aren't fluent in, manufacturing needs, can you break that down a bit? What's that actually look like in action?
Okay, so picture this. A customer wants a customized product. They've got this very specific set of features they need. Traditionally, to get a quote for something like that, you'd have tons of back and forth between departments, manual calculations, and a good chance of errors topping up. What CPQ software does is automate that entire process. It takes all those variables into account, generates a precise quote in real time, and can even create detailed visualizations.
So no more of that bad game of telephone thing we were talking about, right? Everyone's on the same page, working with the most up-to-date info. And obviously, fewer errors means faster turnarounds, happier customers, healthier bottom line.
Exactly. And that's where their third prong comes into play: consulting services.
Hmm.
Mountain Point gets that just plugging in some new software isn't going to magically solve everything. You really need a deep understanding of what each business is struggling with.
So you need an expert guide, someone to help you navigate all of this, like a Sherpa guiding a team up Everest, but for ETO manufacturing.
That's a perfect analogy. Their team gives tailored advice on, well, pretty much everything: process redesign, picking the right tech, implementing it the right way, making sure all the pieces work smoothly together.
Okay, so we've got the streamlined processes, the integrated tech, the expert guidance. What about the fourth prong of this master plan?
Right, so the fourth prong, it's all about customization. They emphasize that one size fits all just doesn't cut it in the world of ETO manufacturing. Mountain Point really stresses working closely with each individual business, developing and implementing strategies that fit their specific needs and goals.
This makes me think back to, those data silos we talked about. Having all that data accessible is great, but then what? It seems like Mountain Point helps businesses actually make sense of it all, turn it into something useful.
Exactly. They're not just saying, here's a toolbox, good luck. They're showing you how to use each tool to get what you need to get done.
So we've talked about the challenges and Mountain Point's way of tackling them, but let's cut to the chase. What does this all mean for the people who are actually, doing this ETO manufacturing day in and day out? What are the real tangible benefits they can expect to see?
Well, Mountain Point makes some big promises. One of the most significant ones, they say you can drastically cut down on configuration time. By streamlining and automating those processes that used to take forever, businesses can go from design to, quote, to production much, much faster.
And in today's world, speed is everything, right? Everything moves so fast. If you snooze, you lose.
Absolutely. And that leads right into another huge benefit, much better, quote, accuracy. By relying on data instead of guesswork, Mountain Point's approach really aims to minimize those costly errors that can really cut into your profits.
Replacing gut feelings and like those back of the napkin estimates with hard data.
Exactly. And naturally, fewer errors plus faster turnarounds equals happier customers. When you're delivering these complex, customized products on time and within budget, you're building trust, you're building loyalty.
Happier customers, healthier bottom line. Anything else we should know about?
Well, they also really highlight the importance of seamless technology integration. Their solutions are built to work seamlessly with your existing systems. No more clunky workarounds or like manually moving data around.
No more Frankenstein tech cobbled together from spare parts. But it's not just about the tech itself, is it? It's about how people actually use it.
Right. And that's why Mountain Point emphasizes change management and user adoption. They understand that even the fanciest tech is useless if people don't know how to use it or don't want to use it.
It's about giving employees the tools and the knowledge to embrace these changes.
Yeah.
All this talk of optimization, efficiency, it makes you wonder, where do humans actually fit into this AI-driven future?
That's a great point, and it gets to a really important part of Mountain Point's vision. They're not saying humans are going to be replaced by machines. It's about humans and AI working together.
So no Terminator scenario where robots are taking over the factory.
Not quite. But what does that actually look like? How do we get from here to this AI-powered future?
Right. How do we actually get there?
Mountain Point says the first step is laying the groundwork for AI. And it starts with data. They talk about getting rid of those data silos we keep coming back to, building a single unified data infrastructure that can feed AI algorithms.
So instead of data being scattered everywhere, we're talking about having that single source of truth, right? The one place AI can go to learn and make predictions?
Yeah. But it's not just about having data. It's about having the right data. Mountain Point stresses the importance of clean, accurate data so the AI is learning from good information.
Garbage in, garbage out, right. How do we clean up our data act, so to speak?
They talk about putting data governance policies in place, setting clear standards for data quality, even investing in specific data cleansing tools. And it's not just about cleaning up the data we already have, it's also about gathering new types of data that can be used to train AI models.
Okay, interesting. What kind of data are we talking about here?
It could be anything, really. Data from sensors on machines in the factory, customer feedback on product designs, you name it. The more data you have, the better these AI algorithms can be at spotting patterns, making predictions, and optimizing everything.
This makes me think about those complex configurations we were discussing earlier. Could AI actually make that whole process simpler?
Absolutely. That's actually one of the most promising uses for AI in ETO manufacturing. Imagine AI analyzing past orders, looking at customer preferences, even considering things like market trends to figure out what configurations are most likely to be requested.
That's amazing. So instead of starting from scratch every time, you'd have these AI-powered recommendations. It would speed up the entire process, maybe even suggest completely new configuration.
Exactly. And it's not limited to configurations either. AI can play a role in automating other design tasks. Think about generative design tools that use AI to create multiple design options based on specific needs.
So instead of engineers spending hours, maybe even days, coming up with different designs, they could have AI generate a whole bunch of options in no time.
Exactly. It frees up engineers to do what they do best, refining those designs, solving the really tricky engineering challenges, making sure the final product meets the highest standards.
It sounds like AI has the potential to be a game changer for ETO, not just making them more efficient, but more innovative too. But I imagine this all requires a pretty serious tech infrastructure, right?
You're right. Mountain Point stresses that you need a scalable, flexible technology infrastructure to handle all of this. That means investing in cloud computing, high-speed networks, advanced analytics platforms, the whole nine yards.
building a foundation that can grow and change as technology does.
Exactly. And Mountain Point's vision goes beyond just using the technology that exists right now. They want businesses to think long-term, prepare for a future where AI and other emerging technologies are even more important to ETO manufacturing.
So it's not just about keeping up with everyone else, it's about staying ahead of the curve. But with all this focus on technology, on automation, it's easy to get lost in the what and forget about the why. What does all this mean for the people who work in ETO manufacturing?
That's a critical point. Mountain Point knows that this shift toward an AI-driven future will require a skill shift too, and a change in mindset. They say investing in training and development is crucial to help employees adapt.
So it's not just teaching them to use the tools, but helping them understand how AI can help them do their jobs even better, maybe even open up new opportunities for them.
Yes, Mountain Point sees a future where AI empowers people, freeing them from repetitive, boring tasks and letting them focus on work that's more creative, more strategic, and ultimately more fulfilling.
A workplace where humans and machines work together, each using their strengths to achieve those shared goals. But I imagine this transition won't be overnight.
Definitely not. Mountain Point knows that these changes require a cultural shift within organizations. They talk about building a culture of innovation, collaboration, and continuous learning.
So it's about building an environment where everyone is encouraged to embrace new things, test out new ideas, and constantly look for ways to improve. But I have to be honest, it sounds incredibly complex. Where does a company even start with all of this?
That's where Mountain Point comes in. They have all sorts of services designed to help businesses through this transformation. They'll help you figure out where you stand now, then develop and implement custom strategies.
So it's about working with experts who really get ETO manufacturing, who can provide that support and guidance. But I imagine all of this comes with a hefty price tag.
Of course, implementing any change like this takes investment, but Mountain Point believes the potential rewards are significant. By embracing AI and these other technologies, ETO manufacturers can reach entirely new levels of efficiency, agility, and innovation.
So it's not just about spending less, it's about creating opportunities for growth and becoming more competitive. But we do have to acknowledge that there will be challenges.
Absolutely. Like with any big change, there are going to be some bumps along the way. But Mountain Point stresses that the key is to go into this with a clear vision, a willingness to adjust, and a commitment to working together.
It sounds like the ETO manufacturers who embrace these changes, who are willing to, learn and adapt, those are the ones who will really thrive in this new world.
Definitely. It's about seeing these challenges not as roadblocks, but as chances to grow, to transform. Mountain Point's vision is a positive one. They really believe that by using the power of technology, ETO manufacturers can overcome these hurdles and unlock like a whole new level of efficiency, innovation, even customer satisfaction.
And create a better, more sustainable work environment for their employees along the way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Building a future where technology actually makes people's jobs better, helps them do their best work, and be a part of something bigger.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the future of ETO manufacturing, it seems like the big takeaway is this.
Yeah.
The companies that are going to make it, the ones who'll succeed, are the ones who are willing to change, who invest in their people, and never stop learning.
Couldn't agree more.
It's about thinking bigger, taking risks, and never just accepting the status quo. Something to keep in mind as you navigate your own path in the world of ETO manufacturing.